The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 135. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Get your free audiobook by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan. And today I have a special lady on today. She has many tricks up her sleeve. You know, she's a business coach, mindset mentor, and she also has her own podcast, which is called The Joy Patrol Show. So, you know, I'm really excited to have her on and share her story. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Kristl Yuen. Kristl, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. Thank you so much for having me. So, I do business coaching and mindset mentoring, and I also do life coaching and host a podcast with my partner. So my big passion is helping people who feel like they are not enough, or they've been othered, or feel like outsiders, you know, find their self-confidence also. So that's my passion, whether it's in business or in life.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what's your cultural background?
I'm half Chinese and half white, and I was born and raised in Hawaii, so that's a whole nother cultural thing, as you know.
Yes, totally. You know, I'm currently in Hawaii, and I love it here.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's amazing. So thanks for sharing that. And Kristl, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Well, I've been going on a Brené Brown binge lately. So she has a quote that says, "You either walk inside your story and own it, or you stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness." So I love that, because it evokes that quality of when you don't have confidence, it feels like hard work to just even meet other people's expectations and to just go through your life. Whereas when you really own your own story, it's easier.
I love it. And I totally agree, right? I mean, especially, you know, like as Asian women, we're always like told to please others because, you know, it's what we've been told to do. And it's not like there's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just that's how we were brought up. But, you know, the more we realize that we are worthy, we can go out there and do so many amazing things and not really care what other people think, right? So that's a great quote. And I love the last part of it where it says hustle for your worthiness, because we have to go out there and really hustle and show people that we are worthy. Well, not really show people, but show ourselves that we're worthy, and it'll just attract the right things into your life. So thanks for sharing that. And, you know, in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I would define it as a deep knowing that you are worthy simply by existing. It doesn't matter. You know, so many of us place importance on the external things, the things that we achieve, and we think, oh, I'll feel worthy then, or I'll feel beautiful then, or I'll feel confident then, instead of feeling confident first. So just that knowing that you are worthy and that what you do is enough and is valuable, and you are able to be yourself and inhabit space without worrying what everybody else is thinking.
I love it. And it's so true, right? I mean, you know, those external parts that we seek for, I mean, it's just temporary, right? And when we learn to work, you know, from inside, and, you know, it'll track the things that will come to us, right? You know,
yes.
so many people out there just want to like seek for the secret, or seek for that, you know, that love, when we realize love is just all inside us, and we just have to ask like the right questions, and I believe the answers will appear. So great definition, and I love it. And you know, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I mean, I was miserable. I had severe anxiety and depression. I had some self-injury issues, and I couldn't trust myself. I kept thinking, well, when I lose weight, when I do this, when I do that, then everything's going to be awesome. Instead of realizing that when I learned to love myself, the confidence would follow, and then all of those things that I was seeking outside of myself would follow as well. But I always thought that, oh, something must be wrong with me. Like if things weren't working, it was because there was a problem with me, instead of realizing that I was worthy and beautiful and wonderful exactly as I was. And if things didn't fit, whether it was clothes or, you know, people's systems or whatever, it was not an issue with me. It was just I hadn't found the thing that was right for me.
Thanks for sharing that. And, you know, it's funny that, you know, most of us, we always think of the worst things, like what is wrong with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we can just change that and start asking ourselves, what is right about me, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm guilty. I used to do that too, right? I was like you, like I would be like, when I have a boyfriend, I'll be happy. You know, when I get this, 6-figure job, I'll be happy. But it's like happiness starts from within, and it has to start at that present moment. And when you're aware of that, that's when more things can come. And, sometimes we have to learn these lessons for a reason, right? I always believe there's just like an underlying reason for us to think why things happen, right? Why you're at this moment or this timing. And it's just, we just have to learn how to be aware of it and find the answers to it. So, what was that aha moment in your life when you realized, you were worthy and, you can do the things that you wanted and you didn't have to worry about what other people thought of you?
So I discovered body positivity and these communities online. And because that was always a big sticking point for me, was I didn't have a socially acceptable body type. And I found these communities and I saw people who were shaped like I was and looked like I did. And I didn't think that they were disgusting or hate them. And after a while, I realized I cannot see people who look like me and find that they are perfectly worthy and yet still hold this self-hatred for myself. Like I couldn't hold both of those things. It's like, if they look the way that I do and I think they're worthy, why can't I think that I'm worthy? So that was over 8 years ago at this point. And that was the turning point, because I realized that we are our own harshest critics and we need to treat ourselves the way we would treat anybody else that we loved.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, I'm like you too, I'm my own worst enemy, right? We're just always fighting ourselves in our heads, like thinking, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Or why would you wear this? You look bad, right? And it's just, sometimes we have to stop and think, you're beautiful. You don't have to worry about what people think of you. You're beautiful just the way you are. And it's great that there's communities like that. The positive body, that's what it's called.
Yeah, body positivity.
Yeah. Especially with, everything in the media, right? They're always telling you this is the perfect body when, most of the time it's altered to the point where you can't even recognize the person, right? So it's just like this false belief of perfection when, there's no such thing, right? I just don't believe there's no such thing as perfection. Perfection is just like you are perfect the way you are with your flaws and your strengths. So, I love that. And what's your life like now after that big discovery?
It's awesome. I think the biggest thing is that I no longer think that something's wrong with me when things don't go the way I expect them. I think, okay, well, what can I find that is a better fit? So it doesn't turn into this negative shame spiral of, oh, I'm awful, I'm terrible, like this system didn't work for me, this coach didn't work for me, this, whatever didn't work for me. Instead, I think, okay, that wasn't the right fit. This is what I learned from it, and I move on. So prior, I used to just have this horrible spiral where everything ended up with me being the most terrible person on the planet and just completely unworthy of love or success or anything. And now it's just like, oh, that was a lesson, moving on. So there's just so much more space in my life for joy because I don't spend so much time hating myself, which is huge.
I love it. And when you look at things in that perspective, don't you just feel more free and like you can, you have the freedom to be yourself more? I mean, you don't have to worry about what people think. Like you just have the answers and you're okay with it, and then you can move on and do better things. So great stuff. And, if the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be facing, maybe a similar situation, or she's going through her own journey of self-confidence, what would be that one tip you would give to her?
To find support. And that can look a number of different ways. It can be a coach, a mentor, a therapist, friend, teacher. For me, it was online communities. And then that branched out into friendships, people that embodied what I want, like what I wanted to feel, but also had been where I was and were open to being vulnerable and sharing their stories so that I could see that, oh, this person has been where I was and they are now where I want to be, and they are comfortable with their bodies, they're comfortable in themselves, they're confident, they're able to ask for what they want, and there's this sense of joy and freedom around them. And so being around those people and in those communities really, really helped me move towards having self-confidence a lot more quickly than if I'd tried to do it all by myself.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I also believe in the power of a very great positive community, right? When sometimes you might not have that strength to lift yourself up first, so you might need that support to lift you up until you're ready to do the same thing. And, and it's the greatest feeling. So great advice. And, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and, check out your own podcast, is there any links or any social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, so I have a coaching business with my partner Rachel, and our website is kristalandrachel.com. We have a Facebook group, which you can get to through that website. It's called Joy Patrol with Kristl and Rachel. And then our podcast is the Joy Patrol Show. And the whole idea behind that is that the community is the Joy Patrol. So they work together to lift each other up and spread joy wherever they are. So online, offline, the whole goal is to have a safe space to feel your emotions. So it's not just like you have to be happy all the time, but it's a safe space to really dive into, this is how I'm feeling, so you can move through it and create space for more joy. And then to also give people an opportunity to lift each other up as well. So those are the best places. I'm on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and Periscope at Kristl Yuen. So it's pretty easy to find me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you also want to connect with Kristl, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Kristl's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Kristl, for taking the time to share her story with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was lovely.
No problem. It was great having you on. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another amazing episode of another woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll catch you later. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Subscribe to The Tao of Self-Confidence on iTunes and Stitcher to hear more stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence.